Hey everybody, it's Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. Welcome to the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast, where we're Team Nicolandria forever. It's me, your man, MG Marcas Grant, joined by Michael F. Florio and LaQuan Jones. I see the stares and the blank looks and the shrugs. I assume that you guys did not get caught up in the drama that was Love Island this summer. Love Island.
Oh, no, not at all.
I avoided that virus. I have not.
I don't want to get too deep into this because I know people are here for fantasy talk, but like I was kind of like you guys. I'm like, whatever. And like Jessie watches it. She watches all these reality shows, and like I'm like, okay, whatever. But she's like, no, you really do have to watch this. And so like I made it a point to catch up to where she was, so we could watch like the last couple of weeks of it together. And like, yeah, I was sort of like, this is trash. It's but then you kind of start to get invested in these folks, and you're like, rooting to see like, who connects with who, and eventually, because like the end, like one couple wins $100,000. You're like, who's gonna get voted? Who's America gonna vote as their favorite couple to win $100,000? So like, yeah, I kind of got caught up in it, and like honestly, like you have attractive people wearing very little clothing.
I'm not judging you because Nicolette watches like a ton of reality. I've watched Double Shot at Love before. Like, I'm not above any of this. I was invested in the Spanish version with that guy Montoya. Earlier I was watching it on like Twitter.
Oh
no, that went super viral though. Like,
the last love show I watched was Flavor of Love 2. That's where I was at, and
I'm not gonna lie,
I stopped.
I have seen bits and pieces of various Love Is Blind because they have it in different countries. So
I
like I
walked
through the room. I've seen some of that. And I will say that 90 Day Fiance got us through the pandemic. It kept us together.
I got hooked
kept us
into
together as a
bit.
family.
Ed is a wild boy. I'll just say
90 Day Fiance got us through the pandemic. So, I can't look down on it. I cannot judge. But hashtag Team Nicolandria here on our side. So anyway, enough about that. We got fantasy stuff to talk about. Figured we'd do an all-breakout team. Was inspired because Bucky Brooks is doing his all-breakout teams. He's doing offense and defense in a couple separate columns, which you can find on NFL.com. So obviously we are offensive-minded here on this show. So I figured we'd all pick our breakouts potentially for this season. So we'll dive into that as well. But first, some news headlines, a little bit of hype trainer smoke screen as well. Something that we just saw literally moments before we started recording the show today. LaQuan, you were the one who pointed this out to us. Seems as though not all is well in the Beltway. Terry McLaurin right now threatening to hold out because he has not heard from the Commanders in about a month in regards to a contract extension. So things are a little bit dicey there. I guess in a similar vein, you got Jauan Jennings on the West Coast with the 49ers saying he needs a new contract or he wants to be traded. So you got a couple of receivers, obviously in very different levels of eliteness. I'm not going to compare one to the other, but, maybe threatening to not be around when their teams break camp in just a little bit. Let's talk more about McLaurin because he's the one that obviously has a lot more impact. Florio, you are a big Terry McLaurin guy. You are our resident Jaden Daniels #1 stan. So here on July 15th, what is your level of concern about McLaurin threatening to hold out?
It's higher than I would like it to be, right? Like I've drafted him on a bunch of teams. I have him ranked as my wide receiver 12 in my early ranks. So obviously high expectations and stuff, but there's still a lot of time for them to get this done. Obviously, we'd rather it be done today and not have to worry about this at all. But camp hasn't even opened up yet, really. So the closer and closer we get to the start of the season, the more I will be concerned. But the reason why I'm so high on Terry is because he put up a career high in fantasy points last year on his second fewest targets of his career, his fewest since his rookie year. So I think the Commanders, as we saw in the second half of the year, will throw more. Cliff Kingsbury has always been a play caller that tends to throw a good amount, and he didn't last year. So I still think there's a lot of room for optimism and upside here and everything. And listen, Commanders, this is the second most important guy on your offense behind Jaden Daniels. Take care of him. I know you got Debo now. You're feeling pretty good. Just pay Terry, and he's worth it. Make it all good for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think eventually this is going to get done. We get a lot of these, right? You get players making noises about wanting this or that, and especially when you're talking about a team like the Commanders, which they had their first taste of success in a really long time last year, and they look like they're building towards something. Yeah, I know they're in the same division as the defending Super Bowl champions, but they are building towards something big. I don't see how they don't eventually get something done with Terry McLaurin, hopefully sooner than later, and this doesn't drag out. I mean, look, LaQuan, we saw this in San Francisco last year with Brandon Ayuk. That didn't go well.
You're giving him fuel to the fire, Marcus.
I know, I'm just trying to make him. Look, when LaQuan's happy, the show's better. So let's do something like pump him up a little bit. That's all.
Burn, baby, burn.
I know. You were very excited. You were very excited about this Jauan Jennings, pay me or trade me sort of thing. I mean, look, what he did last couple years, has certainly made him worth, I think, getting a bump in salary. I don't think they trade him.
Didn't he literally get one last summer?
He might have because he got one around the same time as Ayuk.
Look, man, they look at him as the wide receiver one right now. He's the only one that's healthy, so hold your leverage. Get paid the big bag, man.
Sure.
Marcus, how sick of 49ers players threatening to request a trade are you? Because it's like every single one of them.
It's like background noise now, right? It's just it is just background noise. And so especially at this point, again, it's July 15th. I'm not as concerned. If we, are a couple weeks down the road and this is still happening, then maybe we turn up the panic meter a little bit. But for now, I trust John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan will figure something out to keep Jauan semi happy and keep him there in San Francisco, Santa Clara, whatever. Couple of Chargers news and notes. Obviously, we haven't been with you guys for a few days because of the holiday and what have you. I'm sure you guys have been on the internet. You saw all the rumors floating around about Najee Harris being involved in a pyrotechnics accident. And then suddenly his agent came out and confirmed that, saying he has a superficial eye injury that he suffered during a 4th of July event. The expectations that he's going to be ready to go for training camp and certainly for the start of the season. LaQuan, I know you're pretty big on Omari and Hampton. Your feelings about Najee Harris, about I guess what this means for him and what this potentially means for the Chargers as well.
Well, for him, I mean, it's good that he's okay, and his agent basically saying superficial, which means it's on the surface, is not that serious, and him expected to be there for camp and ready to go. And even if he does miss a little bit of time, this is a running back that we're talking about. Hand him the ball, go forward. That's about it. I'm not looking at this as a concern. If he misses time in training camp, he's not going to know the playbooks. I still think that Najee's going to be involved in his offense heavily, as much as that we thought, before Marion Hampton was even drafted. And Hampton's ADP, the folks that are coming back outside of the fantasy streets and trying to hit these drafts, Hampton's ADP is getting to a point where I'm uncomfortable. And I know he's going to be this star talent, this stud. He's the future of the backfield, but he's going in places that I'm not okay with. He's a top 15 running back coming off the board right now, where I kind of want to pivot to other areas where his ADP is just going to simply just get buried and buried and buried, where at this point, he's going to be my RB4, RB5, and a guy that's going to have a heavy goal line presence, because Najee's not the greatest on the goal line, but he's had plenty of opportunities in these last couple of seasons where he's shown that he can get the job done if given so many shots.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think Najee's going to be a problem for anybody who's banking on Omari and Hampton, because I don't think they bring him in and make him sit the bench, and have him be an emergency option. I just don't see that happening. It's a guy that still has plenty left in the tank, so I think he's going to get used. So I'm with you on Hampton. I don't know that I've drafted him much, if at all, just because he's going a lot higher than I'm feeling comfortable with at this point. So on a personal level, I mean, hope everything's okay with Najee and that everything comes out all right. Let that be a lesson, kids. Fireworks are dangerous.
Don't do it. It's never worth it.
Leave that for the neighbor down the street, because everybody has that one sort of crazy neighbor down the street that will run around and light more as other things are going off. You don't have
these
to be
are
that
my
person.
Cousins. Yeah, these are my cousins.
You don't have to be that person. Let somebody else be that person and just stand back and enjoy from a distance. That's it.
Someone on my block yesterday lit one off at 11 a.m. on July 14th. I was like, what are you doing?
So they've sort of
leftovers.
Side note, they sort of stopped in my neighborhood, but for people who aren't maybe familiar, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but in Los Angeles, the 4th of July starts on June 15th. at least in my neighborhood, like they'll start shooting off fireworks in mid-June, and then obviously 4th of July is like the big, huge day, and maybe they got a few left over like a couple days later. 4th of July goes on for a while in my neighborhood.
It's like Thanksgiving. Like, when is the leftovers not good enough to eat anymore? No, man. 3 days after 4th of July, let's stop it because
that's different. Wild. Yeah, because that's just a noise nuisance. Like leftover Thanksgiving, you're only hurting yourself. You're not bothering other people.
Yeah,
that's it. Other Chargers news: Tre Harris, the 2nd round wide receiver pick, has not signed his contract. In fact, he is holding out. Something going on with the 2nd round picks because as of recently, 30 of the 32 had not signed their contracts, and Harris is holding out. Then throw in the fact that Mike Williams is on the PUP list ahead of training camp, but you can file that under the sun sets in the West. We recently did a show about Ladd McConkey and his ceiling, and Florio, you were very much pro Ladd. Would you like to pound your chest about the ceiling maybe going up for Ladd McConkey in light of this news?
I'm not going to pound my chest because, I'm not taking victory laps before we even have training camp. But I don't think, I think maybe the perception has changed, but I don't think the reality has changed because Mike Williams, even though he's on, I don't even know what he's on the PUP for at this point. Like, he was healthy last we saw him.
It's just tradition now. Like, hey man, it's July. I just need to go on the PUP. That's it.
But he couldn't earn targets with the Jets or the Steelers last year. And remember how needy of wide receivers the Steelers were. So I'm not really worried about him. Tre Harris, I think he is a good X receiver. But remember back during draft season, it was like, this guy was really good at running specific routes, but he needs to work on his whole route tree. So I think everyone around Ladd McConkey is a complementary piece, and Ladd McConkey is the Chargers passing attack. But look, Bob's higher ups, if you're listening, cover your ears. Kudos to these 2nd round picks, by the way. They're like, we're going to unionize and come together and get better results for all of us. So I do love that.
Yeah, man. Shout out. Look, this is always a pro labor podcast. We're a pro player podcast on this show. So shout out to these guys. Yeah, flex what muscle you got at this point, because soon enough, the whole football social media world is going to call you scum when you try to ask.
Who are the 2 who have signed? Because those guys.
Higgins. That's Jaden Higgins is one of them. He got 11.4 million guaranteed. So I think
Jaden's not invited to their party or whatever.
Hey, come on.
But it's also, it's sort of wild because there's only so much you can negotiate. I mean, everybody's kind of slotted at this point, right? So there's only so much you can actually. Carson Schlesinger is the other one, which
him and Jaden Higgins are going to be hanging out in the corner by themselves.
But they got their contracts fully guaranteed. I think that's the bar and argument that guys are trying to.
By the way,
okay,
that guarantee.
Carson Schlesinger, count on a UCLA Bruin to just destroy solidarity, man. Bruins, man.
Spoken from a true Trojan.
Bruins, man. Can never count on them. Anyway, a couple of hype trainer smoke screens before we hit the break here. Florio Xavier Worthy expects the Chiefs offense is going to open up. He says Andy Reid told him, get your hamstrings ready. This is an offense that had been very kind of dink and dunk the last couple of years. They had not been the explosive vertical offense we had become used to seeing. Hype trainer smokescreen. This is going to be more of a vertical attack this year.
100% hype train. And I'm going to talk about the Chiefs receivers a little bit later in the show, but Patrick Mahomes last year amongst qualified quarterbacks had the lowest air yards per target. He's too good to be asking him to dink and dunk down the field consistently. I know it worked in the regular season and stuff, but they need that big play back. And I think just naturally having all their guys healthy, hopefully they stay healthy, we'll get back to that. But yeah, you don't have a Ferrari and drive it only to Trader Joe's and back. You got to air that thing out a bit and let it go. So please let Mahomes start throwing downfield more.
Would love it, especially because of what the ADP right now is on Patrick Mahomes. If he goes back to being the same downfield, vertical attack passer that he was earlier in his career, he's going to well outperform ADP. Well outperform it at this point.
Smoke screen. Are we blind? I understand they want to get to a vertical attack.
Okay.
This has to be executed with Rashid Rice coming back full strength of what the first 4 weeks we saw for them to be a vertical attack. Travis Kelce has not been a vertical attack specialist or a guy to even be implemented in this offense to be a vertical attack anymore. Hollywood Brown, come on. We have to see Hollywood Brown in the Ravens jersey type of form to be able to go vertical all down the field. If it just ends up
he can win downfield.
He can do
we? When's the last time we've seen this? Like, I need the show me. I'm from the show me state. Is that even?
He did it with the Cardinals.
You're not from Missouri. What are you?
You know what I'm trying to say. He has to show me. I'm not fully on board with this Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense being the vertical attack because this is what it was supposed to be for the last couple of years, but we've just seen decline, and it's because of the variables of injury and health. Like, I'm not banking on Hollywood Brown and Rashid Rice, as a couple to be able to get this offense back on track. It's going to take a lot more from Xavier Worthy to step up.
I think
everything went wrong last year.
Yeah.
But Xavier Worthy has to be on the Tyreek Hill level for me to actually believe like he would be able to put up
Xavier Worthy has to be on that level?
I think they have
for this
more help around
to get back. Yeah, but to get back to what Patrick Mahomes was, like we're talking 40 touchdowns and 4,500 yards. Like that's
no one player is going to replace Tyreek. But like Marquise Brown he goes a long way in doing that. And Xavier Worthy, like I reading the article, what Worthy said is he was like, early on they asked me to do a lot underneath, and that lines up with how the Chiefs use players. Like they use their rookies in the simplest ways possible early on and don't ask them to do too much. Plus, Andy Reid is telling them now to get ready. Like, to me, right? I think that matters. And Matt Nagy has come out this offseason and been vocal on like we need to get the deep ball back into this offense. I think they're going to really try to do so.
Yeah, I'm believing it. Now, whether it's successful, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
But I do believe they are going to make every effort to be vertical. And for all the frustrations of their offense last year, I mean, they were 15-2. In the regular season, they lost 2 games in the regular season.
I know most people turn their TV off after Kendrick Lamar, pun intended, but that 60-yard air yard throw to Xavier Worthy in the second half of it's still in there. Mahomes still has that.
Consistent. Yeah,
it still happened. It did still happen for sure. Kyle Juszczyk says he expects Christian McCaffrey to return to form in 2025. Says he looks incredible. LaQuan, hype train or smokescreen?
Smokescreen, my man just had a baby. You know the rules. Here are the rules, man. If you get married or you have a kid in the off season, I'm so fading you because all your attention
become a rule
for Christian McCaffrey. Because last year I said it. The man is a married man. He just got married. This is a red flag. Fade. Now he just had a kid. Congratulations, by the way.
I've never heard you get married.
His sleep is gone. His sleep is gone.
No, but see,
same thing for golf.
The sleep might be gone, but now he has dad strength.
Oh,
he's got dad strength now. So
I got dad strength, that motivation.
I will say, completely different sport, but one year Julius Randle was pretty bad for the Knicks, and he came out after and he was like, I just had a kid, man. I wasn't sleeping. And the next year he played well, and he was like, my sleep is back to normal. So maybe you're on to. I don't have a kid. I can't really comment on this, but maybe you're onto something.
Honestly,
sleep is gone.
I mean, I know and by the way, congratulations to Christian and Olivia for their first child. He also gets to go away to training camp, right? Like he's going to go sleep in a dorm for a couple of weeks. Like he's not going to be at home. Like Christian McCaffrey's not going to be busy with 2 a.m. feedings. He's just not. They got
nannies and au pairs and words I've never heard of taking care of their kids, I'm sure.
Yeah. So like Christian McCaffrey having a kid is not like, any of us having a kid and having to do dad stuff. It's a little bit of a different
LQ, you don't really sleep anyway as is, and you're bringing it on these pods.
Yeah,
I feel like it's different, man. It's a different beast, different motivation.
Here's the thing. I will say this. I think people are starting to come around to McCaffrey in terms of ADP because I thought early on in draft season, I thought he was being undervalued, and I get it. Last year was obviously really frustrating for a lot of people, and there is the injury history that people have to be concerned with. But I just think if we're talking about drafting guys at their ceiling, right? If we're drafting Ashton Jeanty at his ceiling, if we're drafting Omarion Hampton at his ceiling, why not draft somebody at least close to the ceiling, right? Christian McCaffrey's not the RB1 anymore, but his ceiling is still a top 5 running back. So why wouldn't we draft him somewhere close to the ceiling? So I
He
think
could be the
people start to come around.
RB1 still. I think it's like
his ADP right now is RB4. He's the 7th pick off the board.
All right, so he's so
This is where Puka and Neighbors are. Are you going CMC? Are you going CMC, Neighbors, or Puka?
Neighbors.
I think I'm going to go. It's either CMC or Puka for me. It's either CMC or Puka, just because I think those offenses on the whole are better. They're better offenses than what the Giants have.
I bumped CMC up to RB7 yesterday, actually.
Okay. See, so people are starting to come around. So people are buying in. So,
but not RB4. I don't know. I can't take him over Derrick Henry.
You can't.
That's what I'm saying. People are taking that risk. That's a risk.
I think Henry has similar, like the upside might be a little bit higher for CMC, but Henry's floor is way higher.
Maybe. I mean, 1,900 yards and 16 touchdowns. That's a lot to repeat, right? That's a lot to repeat, even in that offense. And McCaffrey gets you.
Derrick Henry though.
McCaffrey gets you that pass catching bonus.
Yeah, I have Genty ahead of CMC too, and that's one that I went back and forth on.
I think Henry just ends up being the steal. He just ends up being the steal. He's getting forgotten because of the new shiny toy and the return of C-Mac. Like, come on.
I don't even know that he's being forgotten or that he's like
some people have him outside that
age cliff. He's already past that age cliff.
I mean, he's past 30.
Derrick Henry is Cristiano Ronaldo when it comes to conditioning and servicing your body. This man takes care of his body on a different
Cristiano
level.
Ronaldo doesn't have to worry about linebackers coming at him.
Well,
I mean, that gets you a red card. That gets you a red card in that version of football.
He's ran past the hill, but he's still running. Like he hasn't realized yet that the hill is so he thinks he's still just running like that. That's Derrick Henry right now.
Yeah, there it is. All right. We can debate this too as we continue on through the summer for sure. So Bucky Brooks is writing his all-breakout team for this season. Yeah, he posted the offensive team just recently over on NFL.com. You can go check that one out. Some interesting names. He had Michael Penix at quarterback, Tyrone Tracy as his running back. Wide receivers were Keon Coleman, Rome Odunze, and the aforementioned Xavier Worthy. His tight end was Brenton Strange. The offensive lineman, just for your own benefit, J.C. Latham in Tennessee, Troy Fautanu in Pittsburgh, Jordan Morgan in Green Bay, Christian Mahogany in Detroit, and Zach Frazier with the Steelers. So we decided we should put together our own fantasy breakout team for the year. So we'll start at quarterback. And LaQuan, seems like you and Bucky are aligned on something here.
Yeah, so before I even clicked on Bucky's article, I just wanted to think of like my own breakouts and like guys that I have, high hopes for and expectations. And it was good to see Bucky just align right where we're going to Atlanta. I mean, look, when you look at the Falcons offense and what Michael Penix brings to it, he brings a vertical attack. And Zach Robinson has spoken high regard of Penix of wanting him to go able to attack downfield. That small sample size that we saw those last 3 games when he was a starter with Drake London was amazing. Like we saw Drake London's yards per reception go from 11 yards to 16 in a matter of 3 games with Penix. And like you have Zach Robinson in recent reports saying he wants to explore with Michael Penix in his rushing upside. Like he just wants to see what we can get out of him. And I think what Penix showed last year was just amazing in that 3-game sample, but like growing that momentum, like you hear him talking about Drake London, like he was asked if he feels like he's underappreciated, and Michael Penix responded like, they won't be after this season. So like, I like the confidence, I like the upside, and I like Zach Robinson on the sticks because he understands like, hey, I'm going to let him air it out because that's what he was doing in college. He was going out there just airing the ball out. And those 3-game span, he also led all quarterbacks in air yards. So you're telling me you're going to get Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and even Ray-May McLeod makes a little appearance in this shout out because, again, you have all the pieces in-house to make this vertical attack come executed at a high level. So I'm all in on Michael Penix as the quarterback 21. Like this is where Tua's going. This is where Matthew Stafford is going. You could still get Michael Penix with that low end QB1 upside just based on this offense.
So you named Drake London. You named Darnell Mooney. You named Ray McLeod. I feel like there's a pass catcher in that Atlanta.
Oh, Cordero Hodges. That's who it is. There it is.
Yeah,
there you go.
No, that's not the name. It is. There's a K. It's something with a K that you're missing. I don't know. It'll come to me later.
Yeah, maybe.
The Atlanta pass catcher name starts with a K. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Is he a pass catcher?
Yeah, allegedly, yes. Allegedly he is, yeah. Florio, I saw the 2 names you put on here, and it was very much on brand for you. So I'll say this for your all breakout quarterback. This feels like if it's not this year, then maybe never. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
100% agree. It's Justin Fields, and I know some people might be like, well, Justin Fields has already shown us he could be really good, but I think that a career year is coming for Justin Fields because one, the offensive style that he is best suited in is the one that he is now going to be playing in my opinion. A lot of outside runs. I think we're going to get a Justin Fields. I'm trying to think of a name for it and stuff, like prepare for takeoff or something like that. Like we're going to get a tush push Jets version with Justin Fields. And then I think we're going to get what the Lions do. Like the Lions, I think people think big plays, explosive plays and stuff like that. They don't throw the ball deep very much, or at least they haven't under Ben Johnson and Tanner Engstrom in the past. Like they set up a lot of short, quick screens and just short, quick, high efficiency passes, which then opens up downfield and you could catch people off guard downfield. And that's what I expect for Justin Fields. That's what the Steelers had him do last year. And he put up, it was in 6 games, but metrically speaking, it was a career year for him as a passer. So I think Justin Fields, who, if you just take what he did in his 6 games as a starter last year and you turned it into 17 games, would have been the QB6 in fantasy last year. I think he could finish even higher than that and potentially be a top 4, top 3 fantasy quarterback this year. And then I gave honorable mention to Drake May. I love Drake May as a NFL player. I think he's got all the playmaking tools in him. My only concern, and the reason why I would prefer to take him as a 2 than a 1, is I have some concerns on how much Mike Vrabel and the Patriots are going to want to air the ball out. But I think all the tools are there for Drake May to be a big breakout candidate this season.
Yeah, and I'm still hoping, I mean, for those of us who want Drake May to be a thing, that the Patriots have finally gotten it right at wide receiver, because they have not gotten it right for a long time now. So,
their one is on a boat right now with Cardi B.
Apparently they broke up.
You know what? There are worse ways to be spending your life. I know that much for sure. My breakout quarterback is going to be Caleb Williams this year. I know that it wasn't necessarily eye-popping in terms of statistics last year as he was sort of working his way back in. It was a Bears offense that struggled to score points for a long time, for long stretches last season. But one of the things that he did very well, which will serve him going forward, is he protected the football. Did not have a lot of needless, careless turnovers, which is not always something you could say for him at college, where, watching him, especially at USC those last couple of years, where he would play a lot of hero ball and maybe force the ball downfield. That was something that the Bears were able to kind of work out of him a little bit. And look, it definitely helps that he had better wide receivers in the pros than he did in college. I mean, being able to work with DJ Moore, with Keenan Allen, him and Rome Odunze trying to form a connection as rookies last year. He definitely had better pass catchers. Now he gets Ben Johnson coming there and calling up the plays and dialing up the offense for him. They go out, they add Luther Burden, they add Colston Loveland. So they are committed to building around him. That's, of course, obviously with Moore and Odunze coming back this year. This time last year, I remember everybody being super hyped on Caleb and me trying to pump the brakes and saying, look, year 1 will be okay. Year 2 is when I expect things to take off. And then I sort of got peer pressured into just like going big on Caleb. And like, I sort of, I regretted it a few weeks in. I'm like, I should have just stuck to what I believed in the first place, but I kind of let the hype kind of take me along. But I am sticking to the fact that in year 2, I think is when we see Caleb really step up. I think year 2 is when the Chicago Bears finally, in the first time in the long history of their historic franchise, get a 4,000-yard passer. I think it finally happens.
I think
this
so
year.
too.
I think Caleb gets over 4,000 yards. Last year he had 20 touchdowns. I think you can get him, to closer to 30, maybe even above 30 this year.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to start to see the Caleb Williams that everybody was hoping for when the Bears drafted him number 1 overall in 2024. So for that reason, he is my breakout quarterback this year. Over to running backs. This one was sort of a wild one for me because I was really struggling to kind of find a name. So, I mean, I'll get to mine in just a little bit. But I guess speaking of the Chicago Bears, LaQuan, you've got your breakout running back right now.
Yeah, I just want to put it out there in the fantasy streets. This is the first year that I'm actually campaigning for DeAndre Swift. Like, I am on board this year. And it's only because Ben Johnson's on the sticks and the opportunities that, are on the table for him. Now, honestly, them not going in the draft, getting the top prospect, obviously just indicates like, all right, Swift is the guy. Like Kyle Monangai, he's a guy right now. He's going to be competing with Roshan Johnson, if anything. But Swift is the guy. And the last time we seen a fantasy relevant season from DeAndre Swift was under Ben Johnson's system. The 70 targets that I keep pounding the table for. And like folks are thinking they're not going to have that same type of volume on the table for him, but there is opportunity for him because he's shown that his best quality last season was as a pass catcher. I mean, he was top 5 in explosive catch rate, a stat that I got from FTN, and he was able to be one of the top 6 running backs out there running those routes. So he's still showing the ability to be out there as a pass catcher. Now, a lot of that volume, it's going to get spread out because Caleb last year, 3 wide receivers had 100 targets. Like, not enough people are talking about that. He also was top 5 in second read percentage rate. So there's obviously options and ability of him extending the plays and getting all these mouths fed. And I think that, Swift is a huge factor in this run game, being the Jahmyr Gibbs or the Sonic of this backfield. So I definitely think, with last year's scheme, it was terrible. The offensive line was terrible. And before Ben Johnson let his name dry ink on that paper, he addressed the trenches. So I think there's just a huge opportunity here with Swift to break out this year, to get back to that top 15 season that he had in 2022 with Ben Johnson. So it's clear as day. He's coming on my roster as an RB3. Mr. RB3 has spoken.
Mr. RB3 has spoken. Yeah. Gavin points out, by the way, that we did have Chase Edmonds on the pod, and he was big on DeAndre Swift, saying he'll be a top 10 running back this year. Look, just missed out on 1,000 yards last season. I'm with you though on these 70 targets. He got those in Detroit with a pass catching group that wasn't particularly great. It was Amon-Ra St. Brown, and like their number 2 wide receiver was like, Khalif Raymond. So that sort of helped in that regard. but I do think there are a lot of targets potentially coming. One more thing I forgot to mention, by the way, about Caleb Williams. Nearly 500 rushing yards last year.
Yeah,
which is under the radar. Big deal. Under the radar, because he's not. I always say he runs sort of in the way that Patrick Mahomes runs, in the sense of, like, he's not just going to take off. It's not going to be a Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels sort of thing where he runs. He will run when he needs to, and he's mobile enough and athletic enough to pick up big yards. He picks up those back-breaking yards, right? It's 3rd and 8, and you've got everybody covered, and then Caleb runs for 10. Like, that's the sort of thing.
And
that
we didn't see him do it last year, but MJ, you could speak on this better than me. But when I watched him in college, like, he is a really good runner near the goal line. And like exactly how you were saying, like, he picks his spots really well.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a rushing touchdown last year. So I think he could do that.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's one more reason to kind of.
The players are grown men. They hit harder. That's probably why.
I mean, look,
in that goal line.
Look, Caleb understands that he's going to make his living throwing the football, not necessarily running it. So, like, just be judicious about it, I think is all.
I think the rushing yards come down.
Yeah. Well, probably, maybe, but if the rushing touchdowns go up, which there's nowhere else to go but up, right? Like, it sort of evens out. Florio, you have the only rookie in our running back section here for Breakout.
I will pick. I love DeAndre Swift. I have him ranked 15th in my rankings right now at running back. And just a couple spots behind him is TreVeyon Henderson, who you talk about. You don't love the ADP for Omarion Hampton. At cost, I'm taking Henderson all day, but I continue to flip-flop. I have them back-to-back in my rankings, and I flip-flop over which one I'd rather have, and you're getting a round or so discount on Henderson. But Henderson was actually my RB2 when I watched all of these running backs in the pre-draft. Look, Genty was everyone's number 1, but Henderson for me was number 2 because I think Hampton, you could make the argument, is the better... like a 1980s NFL coach would love Omarion Hampton. But for what we need in fantasy, I think TreVeyon Henderson is the guy you really want, because what do we want? We want big plays, and I think he is the most, I would even say including Genty, I think he is the most explosive runner in this class. Speed for days. He's also a phenomenal pass protector, which is big because that's usually what keeps rookies off the field on 2-minute drills and obvious passing down situations and stuff like that. And he's got good hands, and he's really good after the catch. So to me, what I always want in my running backs are big plays and pass catching. And I think he is going to thrive in that role. And I know I've said it a lot on the show in the past. Like, of all the rookies, he is the one that is going there where the new coaching staff picked him and didn't sign or draft the RB2. Like, that is from the old regime, Ramondre Stevenson. So I think Henderson is going to be the Patriots RB1. I think he will have some really big games. I think week to week might be a little inconsistent, but the floor will be like probably something around like 10 fantasy points, but he's going to have a number of huge games because he's going to break out like a 60-yard touchdown run or have like a 6-catch game or something like that. So I think he could backdoor his way to an RB1 finish, probably more of a high-end RB2, but you don't got to pay that price for him. So every year when you look back at at the scoring, like who stands out, it's usually rookies. So in the middle rounds, I'm willing to bet on some rookies there.
A couple things about TreVeyon Henderson. One, he is in that group of second-round picks that has not yet signed, so there are questions about whether or not
he's a union man.
Out. He's a union guy, Stand tall with your brothers. The other part is you're going to watch a lot of Patriots games this year, Florio.
Yeah,
between TreVeyon Henderson, Drake May, like you'll be watching a lot of
Jets with Justin Fields. Like, it's weird. I'm pounding the table for a bunch of division rivals,
right?
Except for the
Dolphins. I guess it sort of works out, right? Because you're going to watch the Bills anyway, and they're going to play the Patriots twice. You're going to play the Jets twice. Yeah. Like, are there any Dolphins you want to cape up for? Darren Waller, maybe you want to.
Devon Achane is my RB4. I love Devon Achane.
All right, okay, that's fair. So when it came to me picking a breakout running back, I really struggled with it. I really, really did, because my first instinct was just to go Ashton Junty. And I'm like, that feels too chalky, right? Like, that just feels too easy because everybody loves Ashton Junty. And that is, so it is spicy, but I'm going to go, I think Trey Benson takes a big step forward this year. And maybe he's not an RB1, but I also don't think he's going to be an afterthought in Arizona. We talked about it a few weeks ago on this show. He made the comment that he thinks Arizona has 2 RB1s. I think we did under Hype Trainer Smoke Screening. We were all sort of like, yeah, it's kind of smoke screeny, but I'm like, maybe we don't count this out, right? And I say this as somebody who loves James Conner and thinks James Conner is, he's one of those running backs that we sort of take for granted, right? Because when he's healthy, he's productive. His last 2 years have been arguably the best 2 years of his career. But you talk about that age cliff, right? I mean, he just turned 30 a couple of months ago. This is a guy who has an extensive injury history. I mean, this is a guy who started his career, was able to battle and overcome cancer to get back on the field, which is absolutely amazing. But, all these things do sort of add up over the years. I think Trey Benson is a guy that you look at a lot of the advanced stuff. He was very good in yards after contact. He was very good when it came to explosive runs. All the little things that you sort of like metrics wise from a running back, Trey Benson does that. And so, I still think James Conner is the lead running back in Arizona, but I think you're going to see the gap close in terms of usage between these two teams, between two players rather. And again, I'm not going to sit here and try to sell you some fantasy where Trey Benson overtakes James Conner, and by the end of the year, you're like, oh, he's RB12. Like, that's not going to happen. But I do think if you're going to spend a late round draft pick on him, I think he's a guy who can outperform his ADP and maybe end up sort of in the low end RB2 range. There, less spicy.
I hope it happens.
Spicy?
I'm
2024 LaQuan is going crazy right now.
Yes.
Oh, I know you are. I know you are.
I'm glad we know this because I am huge on Trey Benson. I hope this happens for him though.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something there. But I really did struggle to find who's a good breakout, because there's not a lot of spots where there's not a lot of room for young guys to break in. I mean, you mentioned TreVeyon Henderson. He's one of those few young guys that I think has a real path towards something big. But a lot of the guys drafted this year ended up in situations where they're sharing with veterans or they're just in bad offenses. Yeah. I think it's really hard because a lot of the good running games are guys who are established and just barring injury.
I was this close. I was very close to writing down Jordan Mason, but I think I think we already know how I feel.
We already know. I actually thought you were going to put RJ Harvey. To be honest,
he is a big hype guy this summer.
He's a big
Jordan Mason.
Look, Jordan Mason, Jordan James, man. Those are the two names.
Why don't we
RB3 season.
Why don't people like Aaron Jones? Like for years, we wanted to free Aaron Jones, right? He was like stuck with Jamal Williams. We were like, free Aaron Jones. And now Aaron Jones has a chance to be free. And everybody's like, Jordan Mason. It's like, what? I don't understand us.
The age thing, people, ageism.
I've seen people be like, well, he's only going to be the passing down back now. And I'm like, I don't see a world where Aaron Jones is healthy and only playing passing down.
How? Like what? Why?
You got to be patient.
He had 1,100 yards last year on the ground. Like, why would he just suddenly become the passing down?
Obviously, dynasty, you jump on Jordan Mason right now. Like, you literally go get him right now.
He's probably the top handcuff, too, I would argue. Or one of.
One of. I think I actually have a handcuff ranking. Oh, man. He's definitely up there, though.
I guess. I mean, I think he's a good player, but even in Dynasty, like I don't know that I plan my future roster around Jordan.
So
Mason.
I got a handcuff ranking. Jordan Mason, Zach Charbonnet, Braylon Allen's my top 3, and then Dylan Sampson, number 4.
Really? Not so Trey Benson's not there?
Trey Benson's actually further down. He's behind J.K. Dobbins.
Wow. All right.
And Ray Davis.
Wow. And Ray Davis.
Yeah. Because Trey Benson has to show us. He didn't show us anything last year.
Wow.
He's from the Show Me State.
Wow. Yeah.
New Jersey. New Jersey. Famously, the Show
I didn't mean it like that.
New Jersey. Yes. Feels like there's a lot of places we could go at wide receiver for breakouts. And LaQuan, you're starting with friend of the show.
Yeah.
Wide receiver breakout. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm starting with Xavier Legette. And I think when we look at this offense with the Panthers, target opportunity is wide open for him. And I think last season we saw him be a huge red zone target for Bryce Young. And I think more so if he works on his hands, he had a lot of drop passes, but there's nothing in stone that Ted McMillan's the wide receiver 1 here. Because there could be a debate that Adam Thielen still shows up and show out like he did last season, finishing as a top 15 wide receiver coming from injury. So there's obviously some chemistry built there with Adam Thielen, but I think that second target option is available for him. And I'm not saying Xavier Legette is going to break out to be this wide receiver 1. I'm looking at him more so as a low end wide receiver 2 as a flex. So he can live outside the top 25 wide receivers. This is a great breakout for him because if he's in the top 30, that means Ted McMillan or Adam Thielen, they're in that range as well, or even above. And then Bryce Young is having an offense that's flourishing under him where he's able to distribute the ball because we saw David Moore have some couple weeks last year. We saw Adam Thielen, old man Thielen, going out there one-handed Odell Beckham. We saw Jalen Coker make some nice plays as well. And I think, more so Xavier Legette, with his big body frame, he's able to box you out, the quick slants. He's like a huge gadget player, and I think there's untapped potential here with Bryce Young being able to be a little bit mobile in that pocket, extending the plays, getting the ball to a big target like Xavier Legette. This is opportunity for him to step up big this year. And friend of the show, if everybody tapped into the pod, he's actually taking accountability and working on himself to improve this next season and understanding the offense a little bit better. Like the rookie years under him, second year Xavier Legette, I'm ready. Let's jump on the raccoon train, man. That's what I'm going to call it.
The raccoon train. And somehow in all this, he found time to be in a Glorilla video. So
yeah, it's pretty cool, actually.
Shout out to Xavier Legette for that as well. Florio, you decided to go the group route here, and I guess it kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the hype trainer smoke screen earlier this show.
Yeah, LaQuan's not going to like this, but I'm in on the Chiefs receivers. I have Rashee Rice as my wide receiver 13. I think Worthy's not too far behind that, and then I'm definitely the high guy on Marquise Brown. His ADP's in the 60s. I have him 40 something. I'm a big believer that last year the Chiefs had this plan of bringing speed back into the offense. Because remember 2 years ago, I know they won the Super Bowl, but their offense was being led by Juju and a broken down Travis Kelce, right. And it was rough. So they tried to get younger and faster last year, and Marquise Brown got hurt before we even got to see what they could be with him. And then a mistake that I'm not saying we're doing it, but I think that the public perception on players does is when a player comes back hurt and isn't the same, we then hold it against them the next year. Mm-hmm. But Marquise Brown didn't have a training camp. He was literally getting his reps in on the field in live time for coming back from this injury. Pacheco was taken from us. Rashee Rice was looking like an absolute top 5 elite wide receiver, and then he was taken from us. And Xavier Worthy showed strides throughout the year, in my opinion. So I think that this passing game will attempt to throw more downfield, will attempt to look like the Chiefs of old. I don't think we're going to ever see like the 2018 version of Mahomes again, where he like went absolutely nuclear for 16 games, but that's still in there, right? Like that's in the range of outcomes. And just because of who Mahomes is, and if like these guys are healthy and they could win downfield, I think it'll lead to a lot of big games. Plus, last year was the worst offensive line Mahomes has ever had as well. And I don't know if it's going to improve or not, but they did use their first round pick. They signed someone they tried to get younger there as well. So last year was, I think, the absolute worst case scenario for the Chiefs. And yeah, it wasn't great for fantasy, but like we're getting a discount on them because of that. And to me, the upside is still all there.
I'm curious because I think there's reason to believe this offense is going to be more explosive than it has been the last couple of years. I just don't think Andy Reid wants it to be like that. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is satisfied with that. I think we're going to see them bounce back. I also, as you were talking, I flashed back to 2014. Remember 2014 when the Chiefs did not have a touchdown catch by a wide receiver in the entire season?
Was that like Dwayne Bowe year?
That was Dwayne Bowe. Who else was there? Albert Wilson, the Bird Alert, as we called him. Albert Wilson,
Bird Alert,
Donnie
wow.
Avery, Jason Avant, Junior Hemingway, AJ Jenkins. I mean, it was like it's very much a who's that of. It was not a who's who. It was a who's that.
Was that post Jamal Charles?
Jamal Charles was still there.
Okay.
In fact, that would have been actually he was with the Chiefs for a few more years after that. It was Travis Kelce's second year. So he had not become like a stud fantasy tight end at that point.
He was learning how to read.
He actually led the team in receptions that year. Now that I'm looking at it, he led the team in receptions and receiving yards. So this might have been the beginning of Travis Kelce as a thing.
The emergence
in fantasy football in 2014. But yeah, they did not have a wide receiver catch a touchdown at all that year. It's a weird statistical anomaly, right? Like you would just think like broken coverage, defender falls down, something. You would have just thought somebody catches the touchdown, but nope, did not happen. My breakout for this year, and maybe we saw it a little bit last year, but I'm in on it this year, is Jameson Williams in Detroit. He's had such a weird start to his career, right? He had injury, coming off an injury out of college. Then he had this suspension, for a year and for part of the year and missed time. He just really could never consistently get any momentum within the offense. Last year, he was healthy for most of the season, played 15 games during the regular season, had over 1,000 yards, had 7 touchdowns, proved that he could be the big play guy that they wanted him to be. I think this is the year he takes a big step forward in this offense. And so, I mean, obviously we're drafting Amon-Ra, probably first round or early second round. We're drafting Sam Laporta. I'm starting to see Jameson's ADP go up. I personally don't like it. I want you to stop. But I think people are starting to see the same thing, that this can still be, even without Ben Johnson running the show, can still be an explosive offense. And Williams is going to be a big part of that. I mean, he's a home run guy, can take it to the house anytime he gets his hands on the ball. We know that Jared Goff can spread the football around regardless of what LaQuan may think of him. He can deliver the ball to the guys he needs to get it to. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if Williams is the number 2 target. If it's Amon-Ra is the number 1 target for sure, then, it's some battle between Jameson Williams and Sam Laporta for the number 2 target. I just think big things are coming. If we see Williams somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,300 yards, I would not be surprised this year at all. So needs the catch rate up though. I mean, 58 catches on 91 targets, not particularly great. So if he can bump up that catch rate, that'll go a long way toward helping him out. Finally, breakout tight end, which honestly you could just pretty much say a tight end that's not one of the top 5 guys, and it's hard to argue against it. LaQuan, will you be dyeing your hair blonde if this particular tight end finishes in the top 5?
Absolutely not, but I'll be very surprised if that happens, though. But Chikakonkwo, man, I think there's open targets, on this Tennessee offense, because honestly, the ghost of Tyler Lockett might be present. I don't know if he's going to be able to, step up and be the Tyler Lockett of old, but he's definitely, there. He's definitely a variable in this take. But I think Chikakonkwo, he's proven to us these last 2 seasons he can earn targets. 70 targets in back-to-back seasons with Ryan Tannehill, Will Levis again, Mason Rudolph, Will Levis again, terrible ups and downs, but he's proven to us to have, the ability to step up. Very John New likeness, in his athleticism. So it's like, I definitely think there's upside here, especially with Cam Ward, where we've seen him elevate a tight end last year with Elijah Arroyo. So I definitely think, with the Tennessee Titans finishing on 11th in tight end target share, there's already a system here that there's obviously some room for the tight ends to actually get involved in this offense. So again, I do like Alec Manor. I do like Tyler Lockett, Xavier Restrabo or with Cam Ward previously there, but Chikakonko has proven time and time again he could step up when given opportunity.
He's been one of those guys the last year or two where it's like I'm willing to throw a little bit of fab on him somewhere mid through the season, like if the matchup's right and I feel like he can perform. So maybe this is the year he finally takes that big step forward. I mean, in our normal thinking, it does take tight ends a few years to develop. This is year 4. This feels like this could be the year that maybe
with a steady quarterback, maybe. Fingers crossed. Top 10. I'll say top 10.
I know this has been like Kyle Brandt's points all summer, but like literally there's zero hype around Cam Ward right now. And I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it is just that Cam Ward himself, I think, is a quieter guy. I think some of it's that we don't really pay attention to the Titans.
He's all about the work.
I mean,
all about the work.
When's the last time people were hyping? It's like no one dumps on the Titans, right? Just no one talks about the Titans. I would say the opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is apathy, right? Because at least if you hate somebody, you still care enough to think about them in some sort of way. The Titans, no one, I mean, apologies to all Titans fans out there. Our old pal Justin Graver, who does a lot of great Titans content. I mean, they just generally aren't high in the public consciousness.
The volunteer state.
The volunteer state.
Google what
Google
hence the mascot of the University of Tennessee. That's right. It is
which brings us back to Land of Bad, full circle.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Shout out to the mosh pit.
That movie, man. Let's move on. Your tight end, I felt like if you're gonna do rookie tight ends, you only had 2 options. So Florio, you took one, I took the other. Your rookie breakout tight end is
I'm in on both of them, but I do prefer Tyler Warren. Because one, I know Loveland got drafted higher, but I had Warren as my tight end 1 in the pre-draft process as that was kind of consensus, and then Ben Johnson shocked the world. But Warren. Look, I said this in the past, but if you're catching up or whatever, everything that people said about are saying about Tyler Warren right now was being said about Brock Bowers last season, target competition, poor quarterback play, all of that. But the thing is, I went and looked for both Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, and they are at their best when they are throwing short to intermediate in the middle of the field. That is where I expect Tyler Warren to just live, right? Across the middle, be that safety blanket. And I know this is a hot take. I've said this in the past too. It would not surprise me if he ends up leading this team in targets, even as a rookie, because he is that much of a weapon after the catch that I think they are just going to have a ton of plays where it's get the ball to Warren right now. So these two though, not only Marcus is Warren and Loveland are going to be probably my most drafted tight ends. I'm fine with double dipping them both because of where they go. You could easily do so. And then just hoping one hits because that's, to me, there's not a lot of upside at tight end, especially once you get by the top 7 names or whatever. And these 2 guys clearly bring the most upside in my opinion.
So I love Tyler Warren as a prospect. I mean, everything he did in that Penn State offense, and they asked him to do a lot. He did it successfully and it was amazing to watch. I thought he was going to be the number 1 tight end off the board. He wasn't. So that's sort of why I'm pivoting to Colston Loveland, just because obviously Ben Johnson has a plan for him right now. If they're going to make him the top drafted tight end, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he's going to put up a Sam Laporta-like season in year number 1, but I do think there's going to be opportunity. And so I will admit I have fallen into the Tyler Warren, quarterback worries, bad offense sort of thing. That has sort of scared me off a little bit. I love his talent. Don't love the situation. For Loveland, I love the situation. The only concern I have with him is there's a lot of target competition in Chicago, right? When you've got Moore, you've got Odunze, DeAndre Swift is going to get his targets. They're going to, I'm sure, figure out some way to work in Luther Burden after spending a draft pick on him as well. So there is a lot of target competition in Chicago, but I'm sort of believing in Ben Johnson and whatever plan they have for him. So that's why he's my breakout tight end. But, if you saying Tyler Warren, I'm not going to argue too hard. I'm not going to push back on that because I think there's an equal chance of him doing that as well. So, I like both these rookie tight ends. I don't think Chigakonkwo is a bad option either. I think if you're talking after the first, 6 or 7 tight ends, you can take all those names, throw them up in the air, and whatever order they land in, sure. Yeah, that could happen.
All we're asking is for top 10.
That's it.
No one had Zach Ertz and Hunter Henry as top 12 tight ends last year,
Or even Dallas Goedert with his limited play and points per game. I was really surprised to see Dallas Goedert numbers.
Which, again, is more a statement on the position than it is on those individual players.
That is true.
I mean, what year was it? There was a year where Jason Witten, late in his career, was a top 10 tight end, and all he did was basically just catch the ball and fall down.
That was so awful. He'd average 8 catches a game and 32 yards.
Right.
Eric Ebron.
But he'd have one.
I loved Eric Ebron back in the day.
That was just a touchdown machine. That's all he did.
That's what it was.
Kyle Rudolph was the one that I would always chase my tail on.
Oh man,
I wanted Kyle out of the way for Irv Smith, but I've said this before, man.
Let Irv.
We were big on Irv, but
he never swerved.
I was let Irv swerve for years. Just never happened. Never swerved, unfortunately.
Justin Jefferson's rookie year was the chance he had to break out, but it just didn't work.
Didn't happen. So pour one out for Irv Smith for sure. Pour one out for the show because it's over for today. We're back with you on Thursday. You're not with us though, right? You're off. You decided for some reason, Florio, to go to the Bayou in July. So Godspeed.
Yeah. Well, I'm just the best man. I go where the groom wants to go. But now there's hurricane warnings, so wish me luck.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, man. Thoughts and prayers.
Be safe. Have fun out there though. New Orleans, a fun town. Bring a flashlight. Just in case it gets dark. I should
Eat good.
That. I should explain. So, we get the chance to talk to a lot of the players here. Steve Smith is always very entertaining to talk to, Steve Smith Sr. And somehow we ended up in a conversation about the different cities he's played in throughout his career. And he was giving us assessments of them. And when it came to the city of New Orleans, he said, it's dark. And we were like, you mean vibes, the atmosphere? He's like, no, just physically, there's just not enough lighting in the city of New Orleans. It's just dark. I'm going
to be on the lookout for lights very much.
I mean, depending on what part of the French Quarter you're in, he is absolutely right. It can be very dark. So bring a lantern or a flashlight or something and stay safe.
A candle.
In the hurricane,
that seems super
a couple
creepy.
Candles.
Walking down the street with a candle seems really, really creepy. Anyway, that'll do it for this edition of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. Stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good and live well. Stay safe, Florio. We'll talk to you soon. For the rest of you, we'll have the cheat sheet on Thursday. We'll talk to you then. That's it.